What's going on, people? Today we got a fantasy football draft. So this is a real draft. This is not a mock draft or anything. This is actually one of my leagues. It's a 10-man league. And we're gonna have some fun with it. I got Real on. We're gonna talk a little bit of football. We're gonna mess around, have some fun.
Yeah, what's going on, people? Yup, it's going to be a fun time today. I am happy to be back. We have not made a video in a while, but we're here. And yeah, like Andrew said, this is a real draft. This is not a warning. This is a real draft. And yeah, so if you guys have a draft coming up, the football's obviously starting in like 2 days. So actually tomorrow, right? So
Yeah.
if you guys don't have a draft yet, I mean, this is the last minute stuff. So this is the last minute draft strategy for you guys. What pick are you, Andrew? Why don't you start with that?
Yeah, so I'm pick 6 in an ESPN league, and I mean the format matters. ESPN, Yahoo, NFL, they all rank people differently, and that makes a huge impact on where you're going to find certain players that you're targeting. So sometimes you can wait an extra round, and in other leagues you can't. So in this one, we're gonna have some fun. It's ESPN, and I'm pick 6, so we're gonna see how we do.
All right, pick 6 in a 10-team league. That's not bad. That is pretty bad though. I'm not gonna lie, because you're outside of the top 5. You're probably not gonna get one of those top 5 running backs. So what do you think you're looking at the 6th pick? So let's say Dalvin Cook is gone and Kamara's gone. Who are you looking at? Are you looking at Derrick Henry, or are you looking at maybe a receiver?
Yeah, I mean, the only two options here is Mike Thomas or Derrick Henry, in my eyes, because regardless of the format, Derrick Henry's a freaking monster. He's going to get a lot of targets on the goal line. He's going to just be a workhorse, and that's what you want as, one of your prominent players on your team. For me, I always go running back first. You have to have at least one elite running back on your team, so we're going to do that and see how it turns out.
Well, there's one guy that a lot of people have questions on, and that's Clyde Edwards-Helaire. So that's obviously Kansas City's new running back that they drafted in the first round. He seems like he doesn't have a lot of competition. There's not really a committee over there. They're saying that they're going to commit to him. What do you think about him? And I know a lot of people are putting a lot of hype on his name, even though he's a rookie. What do you think about him, man?
Yeah, I mean, everyone's getting hype. He was the first running back drafted, and I get it. He's a phenomenal running back coming out of college, but for me, I just don't think the volume's there for him. If you really look at it, Kansas City's produced a lot of good running backs, but they also underutilize them. And for me, you just gave such a big contract to Patrick Mahomes that I don't see them giving the rookie enough targets for me to draft him in the first round. If he falls to the second round, I'll take that risk, but my first pick has to be someone that I know is going to produce.
Yeah, why don't you share your screen? Is it starting up?
Yeah, I'm about to share right now. Let's see.
Yeah, I don't know if I 100% agree with you on Clyde Edwards. For sure, I don't know about that because just because I think he will get the volume. The only question I have is, like with Patrick Mahomes, they're gonna throw it a million times. So really, like, what are we? I guess it is the volume. How much are they gonna run the ball with him? And I guess will they split it with Williams? But yeah, I guess we'll see. When they had Hunt, they had their bona fide actual badass running back. He was amazing in fantasy. So if they have that again here, we'll see what happens. But I'm with you on that. Drafting a rookie, there's just a lot of risk involved with that when there's other more proven quantities out there.
Yeah, and I mean, for me, it's just how do you take a rookie over someone like Derrick Henry or Mike Thomas? Like regardless of situation. It's one thing if it was Zeke, from Dallas, and he's running behind one of those type of lines, but like it's not one of those situations. So let's see. I gotta remove all this stuff because it is driving me nuts. So the first couple picks are going quick. I mean, this is very standard. You got McCaffrey, Barkley, Zeke. More likely than not, it's going to be a toss-up between Henry and Thomas. Who are you looking at? Let's say one of the guys at 4 or 5, doesn't get picked. Are you going to take Cook or Kamara over Henry or Thomas, or what are you looking at?
Yeah, for sure. I would 100% take. I would take Kamara first, probably, and then Dalvin Cook from what's on the board right now. Then Derrick Henry. And then I'd be looking at, I don't know if I'd even want Mike Thomas over Kenyon Drake. But that's hard, or even Joe Mixon. But it's tough. It's really tough because Mike Thomas produces a lot of points. It's just that you don't want to pass up on one of the best running backs in the draft because you're not going to get that opportunity later when you might get a solid wide receiver later.
Yeah, and I agree. I really wish Kamara would have fell to me. I was hoping he didn't sign that contract. But I'm gonna take Henry. Like I said, man, most championships revolve around a good trio of running backs, and so I'm gonna get the king, man.
Yeah, I mean, you should be happy with that. Is this a standard league or is this PPR?
This is PPR, and one of the things though is like Mike Thomas just broke the reception record, single season reception record, and for me, like you're not going to produce that again. You're not breaking that record again. And they just brought in Emmanuel Sanders. Kamara's coming in healthy. I expect him to get a lot more targets like he used to. So for me, it makes no sense to go out and get Thomas that early when I can get someone like Julio in the second or Hill in the second.
Yeah,
but yeah,
absolutely.
So this ranking.
Go ahead, man.
No. Oh, I was going to say these rankings that I'm looking at right now is just me very briefly throwing a bunch of running backs earlier. So these are not actually ESPN rankings in terms of this. These are just my preferences early on. I kind of did this very quickly, so it's not my exact rankings. But in PPR, I mean, for me, Kenyon Drake is by far the guy that could easily get jumped to number one. And he just got taken, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there.
So
who on here? At? Yeah, I mean that's the question for you, man. This is your team, but I guess the question here is the draft strategy to go with. I believe when you're in the second half of the draft, if you don't have a guy like McCaffrey or Zeke, I think the strategy is to go running back. But if Nick Chubb or Joe Mixon or Josh Jackson aren't there, then that's tough. If those are the next three players taken, then you got to take a receiver at that point. What do you think?
Dude, I'm totally with you, and that's why I have them ranked like that.
Unless you want to do something wild, you can always do something wild and take Kittle or Kelsey or Lamar Jackson.
So I'm actually going to do something wild here. Okay, I trust my drafting abilities, and there's a lot of wide receivers late. I want to solidify that tight end spot. I'm going to take Kelsey. Okay, I know people are probably going to be like, why didn't you take Julio or Devontae Adams? They're the number 2, number 3 receiver. But for me, Kelsey put up so many points last year that he competed with those guys in terms of points. And he's at the tight end position. So I'd rather have an elite tight end rather than someone that's going to score half the amount of points as him. When I can also have a good receiver. So I'm just going to take Kelsey. We're going to see how it goes. I've never drafted a tight end that early. But you know what? I mean, he's just one of those guys that if he's healthy, he's going to put up elite numbers. So
yeah, man, in a 10-team league, you might as well take that risk, man. I see it. I don't see a problem with that at all. But the question to me is why Kelsey over Kittle? What do you think there?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at their stats last year, it's night and day. Kelsey gets a lot more targets, he gets a lot more catches. And then if you look at San Fran, their whole offense pretty much revolves around the run. Kittle was a beast, don't get me wrong, and he's going to be a beast, but I'd rather be in a pass-happy offense than a run-first offense, And I also trust Mahomes a lot more than Jimmy G.
Yeah, no, I feel you there 100%.
Yeah, and if this was a 12-team league, there's not a chance in hell I'm taking a tight end in the second round.
Oh, no, man, because then you're in real trouble for sure.
Mm-hmm. But yeah,
so this next one though, who are you thinking then? Because I mean, so then you're getting into the back half of the really good receivers, and then there's that second tier of running backs. So really, you could solidify your second running back spot with one of those second tier running backs like Todd Gurley, David Johnson, guys like that, or you can get possibly, if an elite one falls to you, an elite receiver. So you got that elite running back receiver tight end combo. That'd be sick as well. Yeah,
no, I mean, for me, like I said, there are so many good wide receivers later that I want to get that running back. You figure there's 32 teams. So you have a very limited amount of running backs that are available without getting, a handcuff or someone that's splitting carries. So I want to get workhorse running backs early because I can find a 1A, 1B type receiver later on, So here I'm looking at David Johnson. if David Johnson falls to me, I'm 100% taking him because they gave away DeAndre Hopkins and I think it was a second round pick, right? I
Yeah,
think
I think so.
second or fourth. I know there's a fourth and a second ball, but either way, you traded one of the best receivers we've seen in a long time to get a running back. With some picks involved, you are going to utilize him, and he's a pass catching running back. I mean, the dude was literally just 2 years ago the number one running back in fantasy. So for me, they invested so much in him that it would be hard to not take him.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there, and I'm actually I know how you draft because I've been in a draft with you this year, so I
Oh
know
my
what you're
god.
thinking
Yeah,
there.
for those of you watching, which I have no clue how many people are in or if they're chatting or not. Me and Real just had a draft on Monday, and I kid you not, back to back picks. So every
Every
single
year.
time we were rotating, it was like he took my guy, I took his guy, he took my guy, I took his guy, and it was crazy.
Yeah, yeah, that was a good time though. I ended up with a good draft. I'm happy about it.
Hey, ditto, man. I don't have as many running backs as I'd like, but sometimes you gotta just play the board. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what might happen here, man, because you took that tight end. That's the prop. That's the risk you take. So honestly, I'm with your assessment on what you said about uh, the running back. Well, okay, so what do you think about Chris Carson? Because that's a guy that there's a question mark there because when he's played, he's balled. But I
Yeah.
mean, they got Carlos Hyde there now, and Russell Wilson really likes to throw it now. So like it's a different kind of offense than when Marshawn Lynch was there just pounding the rock. So what do you think about Chris Carson?
Dude, I think Chris Carson's a phenomenal running back. He's in a run heavy offense. The only thing is, I mean, he had a late injury last season, and for me, I'd rather go with David Johnson, because Chris Carson's also not a big pass catching back in its PPR format,
What about
so
James Conner though? With
oh,
Ben
I love
Roethlisberger coming back, James Conner coming back, it might be.
the the stats on Connor with Big Ben and without Big Ben are it's like looking at an elite running back and a trash running back. And I love James Conner. I'm gonna take David Johnson real quick, but James Conner, I mean, if you guys don't know, this guy scores like between 15 and 20 points every freaking week that Big Ben's in. So Big Ben's back. If that guy can stay upright, which he's had a whole year off, that is going to add so much value to Connor. The only thing I'm worried about is that Big Ben's older. He's had a plethora of injuries. But Connor, I mean, dude, he's going to be so vital to that offense this year, and they have a championship level defense. So I expect him to have a really, really big season ahead if he can stay healthy.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm with you.
And the best thing about it is I could get him with my next
Oh
pick. If you're
man.
looking at how the board's going, I mean, there's Mike Evans, there's DJ Moore, Juju, Chris Carson. So I have 6 picks before me, and there's like 4 running backs on the board that I would take. But there's also elite receivers left, so I'm expecting them to take those receivers, and they are.
Well, so to me, Chris Carson there's a question mark because of his injury. Todd Gurley is a question mark because of his knee. Other than that, they're great backs and they're workhorses as well. Jonathan Taylor, we don't really know the split that he's going to get with Marlon Mack. And even though I think he's going to be a great running back, there's always that risk. But James Conner, I think if James Conner falls to you here, he's a must grab because if I think he was just taken, wasn't he? No, he
Nope.
was not.
He's there. I was just changing the screen.
He's a must grab because that's what wins you championships. It's those workhorse running backs. The more workhorse running backs on your team, the greater chance you are to be a champion that year. And man, if you can get 3 on your team like that, I think that'll go far. And then you can get some good receivers later on. Like there are still some viable receivers later on, in my opinion.
Oh, I totally agree. I mean, there's elite level receivers later on, but dude, running backs after the 5th round are like basically non-existent. You're pretty much
Right.
chasing clouds at that point. So for me, there's 3 picks in front of me. There are also 3 backs on the board, 4 technically, that I wouldn't mind having, and they're all in order. You got Connor, Carson, Gurley, Taylor. My preference is Connor, then Gurley, then Carson, just because PPR format, and then Taylor because he's not going to get the touches and carries early that I would like, but later on down the road, I guarantee you he's going to take over that backfield. And, I mean, the Colts have like the number one ranked offensive line.
Right.
You know? But man, if I can get one of those running backs and then get like DJ Moore, Robert Woods with my next pick, I'm happy, man. I am super happy. I think DJ Moore is going to be a phenomenal wide receiver this year. I mean, he is a very good wide receiver, and he's going to have Teddy Bridgewater. I mean, last year they were running with freaking Allen, and Allen couldn't throw the ball to save his life, So it's going to be interesting to see how this goes.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
Well, all right, man. On wide receivers, man.
All right.
I'm happy by it, dude. So right here, man, I'm just going to take Connor and solidify that team, because also one of the things holding me back on taking Gurley besides his knee is that his strength of schedule is very, very tough against running backs. So that kind of was the tiebreaker between the two.
Yeah. So, man, your team is stacked already. Like, look at that team right there. Derrick Henry, David Johnson, Travis Kelce, James Conner. Wow. Like, those are guys, unless they're injured, you don't have to take them out of your team, out of your lineup ever.
Yeah, I honestly, I mean, to be honest with you, I would never bench any of you guys besides a bye week or injury. Knock on wood. But like I said, I mean, the running backs are gone. Like, if you go to the running backs right now, besides Jonathan Taylor, question mark here. Bell they're saying he's like the third running back on the team right now, which is very scary. David Montgomery, I think, is going to be a great back this year. So I would not mind taking him later. But like Akers, we have no idea how he's going to do. Swift is sharing carries. Hunt is sharing carries. I could care less about Antonio Gibson. But you see what I mean? Like,
yeah, and they recently said that. They recently said that J.D. McKissick is going to be their starter.
Oh my God!
In Washington,
that's even worse.
Yeah.
But
yeah, absolutely. But look at those receivers still on the board. Like, are you kidding me? Put some respect on Keenan Allen's name. Why is he so low? I'm so confused. Yeah, Phillip Rivers is gone. So what? I don't care. He's still Keenan Allen. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I love Keenan Allen as long as he's healthy, which obviously we've been preaching. Phenomenal wide receiver. The guy's PPR gold. The only thing holding him back is that he has Taylor, and Phillip Rivers used to feed Allen the ball. So as long as Tyrod Taylor's actually trying to get Allen the ball, he's going to be a top 10, top 15 wide receiver. I mean, they just invested a crazy amount of money in him for the next couple of years. I expect them to utilize him. And then I also think Justin Herbert will take over that, that quarterback spot by the end of the year. And I think he has a phenomenal arm. So there's great receivers here.
Chill. I don't know about all that, but yeah. But yeah, no, Keenan Allen is a beast.
Respect that boy's name, bro. He's a
Fuck
high
that.
end.
Let him do something first. I don't respect shit. Keenan Allen's done something in this league.
No, bro. I said Justin Herbert, bro.
Yeah, he hasn't done shit in this league yet. Let him do something first before I put respect on his name.
Look, all I'm saying, man, you invested a high first round pick as a quarterback, and you brought in Tyrod Taylor. Like, for me, I very much expect him to be the starter by the end of the year. I think it's going to be a Danny Dimes type situation, full on.
I mean, Danny Dimes ain't no Danny Dimes. He's only Danny Dimes because he plays in New York. He's ass too, dude. Are you kidding me?
I'm just talking about him starting, bro. I could care less.
Daniel Jones is about to get who are they playing week 1, bro? I guarantee you he's about to get 4 interceptions week 1. Because I think it's the Steelers. I think it's Steelers Giants week 1 in Pittsburgh. Bro, he's about to get 4 interceptions.
Yeah, I mean, the Steelers are my number 1 ranked defense, so yeah.
All I'm saying is
Daniel the starter Jones by the end of the year.
No.
We'll see.
Dude, I'm going to say this as well, and this might be controversial, so don't get mad at me, Bills Mafia, but listen. Dude, Josh Allen should not be drafted as high as he's been drafted. Not even close. Not even close. I don't think he should ever be drafted that high. I really don't.
Facts on you, bro. I agree because
I know he did really well last season, but that's what he did last season. If you really believe he's going to do that again, fine. But I don't know why you believe that. Like, that was an aberration. Maybe he will play that well again, but you're drafting him at that level, so now he has to play that well. in order for you to find value in him. That's the problem. When instead you can get somebody like Matt Ryan later on, like 15 rounds later, and he'll put up very similar production, maybe less, but he might do more. You never know with Matt Ryan.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you why though, dude. It's because for one, Josh Allen literally outscored Patrick Mahomes in 9 weeks last year.
He was hurt, bro. That doesn't matter. Tyreek Hill was hurt too.
No. I'm saying week by week basis. I'm not saying overall. I'm saying week by week, Josh Allen was outscoring Patrick Mahomes, and then they just added Diggs. I don't think he's gonna have a better year than Mahomes by any means. I'm just dropping some facts on you and the people.
I feel you. And Matt Stafford was on pace for 5,000 yards and 40 touchdowns. That doesn't matter, bro. Matt Stafford's being taken in like the 13th round, and Josh Allen's being taken in like the 6th round, and it makes me sick.
Yeah, I mean, some people are stupid, bro. What can I tell you?
That's all I'm saying. They're overdrafting him. It's crazy.
Right. So let's see. I'm on the clock, man. So obviously I want to solidify that wide receiver 1 spot, and there's like 4 receivers I'm looking at here. But I'm also so tempted to take Jonathan Taylor so that I never have to worry about running backs all season. And
what quarterbacks are left? Is there any of the good, like really good?
Bro, there's elite quarterbacks down the board.
Can you get Russell Wilson right now? You get Deshaun Watson?
I'm not taking him yet. Dude,
all right.
I'm just going to take Jonathan Taylor.
Really, dude? You have 3. You get Keenan Allen as your star receiver.
If I'm drafting receivers, and be DJ Chark, bro.
Bro, I'm leaving the I'm gonna leave.
Bro, you tripping.
All right, fine. Take Taylor then. You're not taking Chark, bro. Don't take Chark.
All right, so since we have to argue this, look, the reason why I would take Chark over Allen is, for one, the guy was a monster last year 1. They just got rid of Fournette. They got rid of their whole freaking team. They're going to be behind the entire game, every freaking game. They're probably going to finish as the worst team in the NFL. The value there is so high because of how many targets he's going to get in garbage time every single game. And Minshew magic, bro. I love Keenan Allen, but Chark just has more value in terms of all that.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't buy it at all. No way. No fucking way, dude. No.
So I know you were talking about quarterbacks. I love Russell Wilson, dude. He's the most consistent quarterback. He's finished, literally, his worst finish was like 8. He's finished first. He's finished third twice. He's finished like 5th once, 8, whatever. Dude, I fully expect to get one of these wide receivers that we were just talking about, and then still being able to get another receiver, and then looking at those quarterbacks, and if anything, all hell's fail, I could get Stafford later. And given this is a Michigan draft, so Stafford's going to go earlier than expected, but the quarterbacks on the board are still great. So I am not reaching for a quarterback.
You picking Josh Allen or Drew Brees?
Bro, fucking Brees all day. You kidding me?
Looking
at Brees stats,
I rest my case on Josh Allen.
Dude, Brees is my favorite quarterback of all time, for 1. For 2, bro, Brees literally last year was throwing 3 touchdowns like every single game. And they just added Emmanuel Sanders.
Oh, man. OMG, this Lions talk is live right now. My bad. We didn't know.
Dude, honestly, I'm just drafting.
Yeah, so, we just drafted, bro.
So I'm going to take DK Metcalf here. The guy's a phenomenal red zone target. It's Russell Wilson throwing him the ball. I fully expect him to have a jump from year 1 to year 2. And Tyler Lockett, if you saw how the year went, Tyler Lockett was phenomenal, top 8 weeks, and it was just Metcalf the second half of the season, and I'm fully comfortable with taking him. Freak athlete, and
I believe he had like the most red zone targets or something like that. Like they're using him a lot, and they really like him. So that's a really solid receiver you have there, since you already took 15 running backs.
Exactly. and you know what's funny is right here I'm looking, and I'm like, dude, Jarvis Landry is a consistent top 15 wide receiver in the league every single year in PPR formats, and no one takes him, right? Deebo Samuel was putting up like 15 plus points every freaking week. He's hurt right now, but 15 plus points, and all the receivers are hurt or gone. And then you look at T.Y. Hilton. T.Y. Hilton could have a top 10 wide receiver year as long as he stays healthy for once, and he has Rivers throwing the ball. And then you have people like Devontae Parker, who blew up on the scene. Stephon Diggs, who's a great wide receiver, and he freaking changed teams, so now he doesn't have to split targets with Adam Thielen. you got Will Fuller, Tyler Boyd. There's so many wide receivers, and this is exactly why I would rather load up on running backs because other teams aren't going to have them. And even if I do have four and one doesn't pan out, I have trade bait, man. I mean, people are going to trade for running backs.
Yeah, for sure. And what you said about T.Y. Hilton is a fact. If he stays healthy, he will be the biggest steal of the draft, like by far, because he is going to be the next Keenan Allen with Phillip Rivers. He's going to be amazing if he's healthy.
And that's what I was thinking, man. I literally was like, T.Y. Hilton will be the Keenan Allen of the Colts.
Yeah.
And
even though he's used a little differently, he was in the past, when Andrew Luck was there and stuff. Like, he's a speed guy more. And I heard like that guy Pittman Jr. that they got this year in the draft. He's supposed to be a bigger guy, and maybe he'll get some targets. But I mean, you can get him really. He's probably going undrafted, so like you could probably get him late as hell as a handcuff backup or something like that. That'd be a solid backup.
Yeah, I mean, Michael Pittman is definitely he's like a Mike. Dude, it's so funny because both teams have very similar scenarios.
Yeah.
Keenan Allen is a route technician. T.Y. Hilton is speedy. He gets into open space. He's not a contested catch guy, and neither is Keenan Allen really. But then their number two, Mike Williams, contested catch guy, and so is Michael Pittman. So it's just funny.
True. That's a good point.
Unfortunately, T.Y. just got taken. So
okay,
we just got hype him up. I think he's gonna have a good year with Rivers because Rivers likes to air it out.
It's just if he stays healthy. That's the only thing, though. So, like, you could easily draft and be hype about him, but he could get hurt. Like, that's the problem I had last year with him. Debo Samuel, too. Like, he's young, but he's already had a couple injuries. Like, he began last year with an injury. And then, like, I don't know, man. Like, you're trusting Jimmy Garoppolo. I trust their offense. I like Mike Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan. I really love him. I loved him with Atlanta. I loved what he was doing there. And then he went to San Francisco and obviously took him to the Super Bowl this past year. I love what he's doing over there, and I love his offensive scheming. So Debo will probably get a lot of work, but I don't know, man. You still got Kittle. You still got all those running backs, and it's Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't know, man. And then Swift, let's talk about this real quick because obviously we're Lions fans. We know a lot about Swift because we know a lot about the team. We know the ins and outs of the team. Every single news, headline that drops about the Lions, we know it. And the Detroit backfield is way too crowded. It's way, way, way too crowded. And obviously your team is way too crowded with running backs. But let's just hit on Swift real quick. We just picked up Adrian Peterson. Are you on the clock?
I am on the clock. Give me 1 second. So right here, I'm debating between Landry, Samuel, and Parker. For me, the highest ceiling is definitely Devontae Parker. He's at number one. They have Tua. They got Fitzpatrick. I mean, dude,
Devontae magic, Parker, bro.
Yeah, I know. He came on the scene. I'm gonna try and snag Parker right now because he's a little bit more of a bigger name wide receiver because everyone sleeps on the other two. So I'm gonna grab him because I mean the guy finished as a top 10 receiver last year. And they're gonna constantly be down too. So I expect
my dude Devontae Parker finally had his breakout year. Ever since he was drafted, everybody was hyping him up like he was the next Odell Beckham, and then it never happened. And then they put Jarvis Landry with him, and it was gonna be him and Jarvis Landry, and it was gonna be crazy. Never happened. They brought in quarterbacks, got Josh Rosen. Nope, that doesn't happen. So finally, this past year, he finally broke out. He wasn't injured or anything like that. Finally got it done. So if he could do it again for you, man, your team is stacked right now. If he could produce like he did last year, your team's stacked. What do you think of Stephon Diggs, though? Well, let me just say this about Swift because I already started on Swift. Swift, there's too many people in the backfield. If you think about drafting DeAndre Swift, just don't because there's way too many people in this Detroit Lions backfield. There's Swift, Kerryon Johnson, Ty Johnson, Bo Scarborough, and now we got Adrian Peterson. It's just too many people. And Lions haven't had a good run game in over like a decade, so just don't even think about it. All right, next. So what do you think of Stephon Diggs, and why didn't you really consider him? Because he's obviously a really good, he's a pretty good fantasy option year after year, and he's a really good receiver that got traded to the Bills. They spent a lot to get him, so why don't you think they're going to use him, especially if you're so high on Josh Allen?
First off, I didn't say I was high on Josh Allen. I was just being devil's advocate. Don't put words in my mouth, bro. Look, Stephon Diggs, great receiver. The problem is the team he's on. In the Vikings, I was like, hell yeah, I'll take Diggs. But with the Bills, for one, they got John Brown, they got Cole Beasley, which they do like. Do not be mistaken. They do like them. But they are a good defensive team that also has a run game. I don't expect them to have to throw the ball as frequently, which for me takes a lot away from the receivers, and the fact that they have Diggs now along with Cole Beasley and John Brown, I devalue him a little bit. I still think he's gonna have a good season, but for me, it puts him lower, as to where a Debo Samuel, he's the number one on San Fran. A Marquise Brown, he's the number one wide receiver on Baltimore. So it's hard for me to take someone that is just not going to be utilized as much. So right here, I'm looking at Marquise Brown and I'm looking at Debo. I might just go with Marquise Brown just because he's a big play. I mean, every single time he touches the ball, he can literally score like an 80-yard touchdown. The guy's super quick. He bulked up in the offseason.
Yeah, I love his ceiling. I absolutely love his ceiling. And it was the fantasy football advice guys on YouTube that really sold me on him. And they said that he can be the next Tyreek Hill. He put up similar production to Tyreek Hill did his first year. And now he's just an absolute, any given play can be a touchdown from him and could provide you, 6+ points on your team. So, yeah, I think that Brown is a really solid pick if you get him.
Yeah, so, I mean, he got taken while you were talking, but I wanted you to finish your sentence.
Oh, man, that sucks.
So right here, like I said, I'm going Debo. You can argue Tyler Boyd had a phenomenal year last year. You can argue Will Fuller because what he does when he's healthy is none other short of freaking spectacular. But I don't like injuries in terms of Will Fuller's status. And then Marvin Jones, I expect Marvin Jones to ball out. He's in a contract year. He's with my boy Stafford. He's on my freaking Lions. But for me, this is fantasy, man. This is not me, being biased, whatever. And I just think that Debo has a better situation because he's also utilized in the run game and screen games and just so much. I just think he's in a better situation. So I'd rather go Debo and stay young a little bit at that wide receiver spot.
Yeah, I think that was a good pick, man. I think that was a good pick. What are the quarterbacks looking like right now?
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm pretty comfortable, dude. Right here, I'm grabbing my boy Breeze.
Yeah. I think you should grab Josh Allen.
Okay. Nah, bro, you tripping. Yeah, I mean, obviously they have Matt Ryan, Wentz, Allen ranked higher, and I know why. But dude, I don't play into that crap. Drew Brees is a top quarterback in NFL history. The guy is still playing at a phenomenal level, and they have a cap space problem right now. So to me, what that says is, hey, we're making a Super Bowl run. We are going to do everything in our power to get to Super Bowl. And Breeze, like I said, 3 touchdowns a game. I honestly come into each week expecting this man to throw about 3 touchdowns. So I'm going to go for it. I'm going to take Breeze. And if I can on the swing around, I'm going to grab Stafford or Cam Newton. If I can have Stafford, who was on pace to finish as a top 3 a top 3 quarterback last year, and he is on my team along with Breeze, I will never have a problem with my quarterback spot ever, as long as they stay healthy. So I'm going to see if I can swing that, but it is a Michigan league, so Stafford is, valued a little bit more.
Yeah. Are these just friends of yours or coworkers or something?
Yeah, I went to college with one of them, and I got invited. I had to cut down on leagues this year, man. I could not take it. I was getting invited to leagues left and right, and I was like, look, I was in 5 leagues last year. I made it to 3 championships, and it's just too much because it takes away from the fun of it because all the players you have, you also end up versing each week. So you can't even root for people because it's just – you want them to score, but not too much, So this year I'm only doing, I think, 3 leagues, and they're all leagues I've been in for years. So I'm just trying to have some fun with them, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
What do you think of Matt Ryan this year, man? I mean, this guy was a phenomenal quarterback when he was healthy. He was a phenomenal quarterback. That year he threw for like 5,000 yards. But what do you think he's going to do now, man? Because he really dropped off last year.
I think that he's been suffering ever since Kyle Shanahan left. I think he had like one good year since Kyle Shanahan left,
Hmm.
fantasy wise, and I just don't trust that team until he consistently proves that like it's not him. It's like the play calling or whatever they're doing, or just the way that they obviously wanted to focus on the run. They've been doing that recently, and obviously they just got Todd Gurley, so I don't think that's going to change. So I don't
Yeah.
know. I really just don't know what their philosophy is as a team, and I don't think that I want to draft Matt Ryan over some of those other guys like Drew Brees. So yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree, man. I mean, I honestly don't know why they are ranking Breeze so low because they have Brady so high. And it's the same situation. They're both older quarterbacks, but Breeze is consistently outscoring Brady. So I just thought it was ridiculous. And I mean,
Because
like
he's
I
not six
said,
foot. He's not 6 foot, so
hey, well, you know what to say, man. Yeah, so I just grabbed Breeze, and I'm gonna try and swing Stafford. Um,
You're gonna get Stafford on this next time around.
no, I was gonna say in like a
Oh,
couple
okay. Yeah,
picks.
that's what I was about to say.
Um,
Like, no, man, forget that. Stack up on your team.
yeah, so I got 4 running backs right now. I got 3 receivers. I am looking at Brandon Cooks though. If it gets to me, I'm 100% taking Cooks. The guy has finished, with 1,000 yards almost every freaking year. When he's healthy, he has home run potential on every single play. DeAndre Hopkins is gone. That pretty much is spreading 150 targets to other receivers. And if Will Fuller gets hurt, that means Brandon Cooks is the sheer number 1 wide receiver there. So he has a lot of potential. I mean, this man can stay healthy. He can be a beast. So I'm liking him.
Not just that, Will Fuller has always been the deep threat. That's been his primary weapon. And Brandon Cooks is probably going to take more of the role of DeAndre Hopkins than Will Fuller will. So I think that Brandon Cooks, like you said, I think that he will be a monster if he's healthy.
Yeah, I love Will Fuller, man, but for me, the guy has not finished a single season. I don't even think he's finished a half season before. So I'd rather take the guy that's getting 1,000 yards every season and getting hurt here and there than to get someone that is just not even playable. And especially with all the stuff going on, I need players that are going to be available.
Yeah, that being said, though, if you already have a team and you have Will Fuller, I would definitely start him this week. Definitely start him against the Kansas City Chiefs because, if he's healthy, if you don't think you're going to have Will Fuller for the full season, then you might as well play him while you have him. You know what I mean? And he can, any given play can be a touchdown from him. Spectacular play. So I like him.
Right. So the problem is they both just got taken in back-to-back picks.
That's wild.
Yeah. But I'm looking at who's on the board just in terms of rankings. I am not taking any of these guys. The only one worth taking here is Philip Lindsay and Jamison Crowder. And Philip Lindsay only because he's finished with 1,000 yards every year so far. He's constantly underranked. So if Gordon goes down or anything, he's got the backfield again, which adds a lot of value. But I like my running backs, so I don't really think I need Lindsay. And then also Jamison Crowder is the number 1 out
Was
in New York.
AJ Green taken already?
Yeah, AJ Green was taken actually quite early.
Oh wow. Okay, scroll down.
Yeah, so I marked 3 wide receivers I'm looking at. I'm looking at Emmanuel Sanders. I'm looking at Henry Ruggs. I'm looking at Deshaun. Emmanuel Sanders is a freaking beast, and now he's not going to be the wide receiver 1, which means that he's not going to be facing off at cornerback. The top quarterback on other teams. And I have Breeze, so I like that situation where you're starting the quarterback and the receiver. But Henry Ruggs and Deshaun Jackson, those guys, Henry Ruggs, number 1 for the team. They invested a first-round pick for him. Deshaun Jackson, home run abilities. He's torching our dude Slate in practice right now. And you guys all saw what happened last year when Deshaun played week 1. The guy scored like a freaking 30 points. So I'm really looking at one of these 3. And, yeah, I mean, it's a little hard for me. I'm kind of debating who I want. I probably will take Deshaun just because of the bye week situation. I already have Metcalf with the bye week 6, so I don't want to have too many people with the same bye week. But yeah, what do you think, man?
I would 100% go with Emmanuel Sanders. Like, it wouldn't even be a question for me.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Even though he's the number 2?
Yeah. I mean, you see what Breeze's other number twos was when it was Mike Thomas and Brandon Cooks. Brandon Cooks was still going off. You know what I mean? Who else was there recently?
I mean, they haven't had a true number two in a while. They got Tre'Quan Smith,
they
who
had like
kind of showed
Ted
out last
Ginn.
year.
They had like Ted Ginn for a while, and he was like okay, but he's not anybody special. Like Emmanuel Sanders I think that he's gonna really produce there. I think it's gonna be a really good thing. Well, okay, you filled out most of your roster. You want to end this stream? We could finish offline.
Yeah.
Because we're getting to a little long, and I think that we got one viewer watching. Shout out to you, bro.
Right. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think about the draft. Hit me up on Twitter. Hit that like button and make sure you guys subscribe.
Yeah, and I gotta say this, man. If you are a real Detroit Lions fan, you want to pay attention. We are going to have a lot of Lions content coming out. It is finally season time. We are here. Week 1 versus the Bears. We are going to kick their ass. Let's go, Lions. One pride.
Let's go. We're out.